Welcome, Gregor Pryor. Now, he has flown all the way from London to be with us today. So thank you so much for joining. Whilst I get my notes in order, because at the moment you're not the metaverse, well, you might be. Is this microphone on?
Am I on?
Yep.
Yes.
So, Greg, who are you? That's brilliant. They turned that round so fast. Who are you? What do you do? Tell us a little bit about Reed Smith.
So I run our entertainment and media division. We are a global law firm that serves the entertainment and media industry. So that means 70 or so of us that are dedicated entirely to the sector among a firm of 2,000 lawyers. And
are you able to name drop for us today and tell us who are your clients? Now, Ed, who was with us earlier, and you work together, right? So who are your clients?
Yeah, I mean, we can't, obviously we're not supposed to talk about too many of them, except ones that are in the press. Ed wins every time because Mariah Carey sings a song to Ed, so he definitely wins there. We are known to represent Jay-Z and Rock Nation. We look after Rihanna. Ed and some of my other partners have big artist clients. We also represent major record labels, major and independent publishers, and many of the DSPs and distributors that you will all know and love.
DSPs, digital service providers?
Right, so yeah, companies where you pay £10 or $10 a month and you get unlimited music.
How do you work with artists?
It's changed actually, Jasper. Over the last few years, it's become much more of a kind of co-venturing and I would say entrepreneurial process. So in the old days, when we were working with artists, we would pretty much review their record deal, their management deal, their songwriter deal. We would help them marshal the money through the distribution channels. We help them with their other activities. Now artists tend to be much more, on the front foot. They want to own their rights. They've got their own ideas about creatively the direction they want to take. So it's much more exciting.
So talking about rights, and that's really what this is all about. We've got artists in the room. Let's say they've written a song. They've written a great song. Do they own it?
Often they own it if they created and wrote the song. And I think that's only half the challenge, right? I think often people, or particularly artists, you're in the studio, you don't really know which song's going to stick or be a hit or going to go viral. You just, the magic is happening in the studio. It's not a natural thing to then start writing down who owns which share of the song. Most songwriters write with other people. And so, it's one thing being involved in the creative process. It's another thing being able to evidence and show and be able to register your songs. So they do own it, but showing that you own it is a different thing.
And so what's the next step? So I've written a song and I want to register it.
Yeah. I would strongly encourage people who are writing songs to register with a performing right organization, make sure that that membership is up to date and properly administered. If you can find a music publisher that believes in you and wants to help you with your songwriting career, then don't be afraid to ask questions of the publisher and have them find someone that works and believes in you.
And I mean, talking about publishing, we've done entire sessions on music publishing and entire days on music publishing. Yeah. But how important is the publishing pillar of music and what are the key legal parts within that?
Right. It is more and more important, right? In the old days, I would say, there was this thought that publishing was, and by the old days, I mean the 50s and 60s, publishing was the poor relation. There wasn't so much investment in the song and all the attention went to the label. These days, many artists want to own their own recordings, but the publishing network of PROs and other collection agents means that it's to your advantage to, allow other people to collect money for you. And so I think definitely being familiar with the way that the money flows is the most important thing.
You wrote a very famous white paper last year on streaming, on content uploads and owning copyrights or not and what have you. Again, we don't have all day, and it's a subject that could be talked about all day, but what tips can you give to artists who want to upload content about knowing what rights they have or don't have?
Yeah. There's a school of thought that I kind of subscribe to, which is if you're going to upload it, then you may expect that if it's popular, other people are going to rip it off in one way or another. And being able to then point to the evidence, being able to then use, if it's a sound recording, for example, and you are signed to a label, you should pressure the label to help you enforce your rights. Use the platforms. And we had Meng on this morning with BandLab. We've represented SoundCloud for many years, since the very early days, actually. So, never before has there been such an opportunity to get your work out there and known. So get it out, get it known, but at the same time, make sure that you're able to point to your ownership of that song if you find people are using it in a way you don't like.
And going the other way, what are the rookie errors you've seen with artists uploading content and streaming and what have you, if they don't own the rights, perhaps?
I think we see a lot of errors with cover songs, people not fully understanding how cover songs work, and the general accepted rule in the industry is you can cover a song, but you have to do a faithful cover of it. You can't, massively adapt or change it because then it may not be lawful. Definitely unauthorized remixes, bootlegs, while they do get you known, it's tempting because you can piggyback off the back of someone else's creativity, but that often gets you in trouble. And the other thing is copyright strikes. If you get copyright strikes, it's going to be very difficult to get back on a platform, so you've got to be very careful with that.
So it's usually 3 strikes and you're out, right?
Yep.
And then you're out.
Yeah, now in Europe especially, and it's going to happen, I think, elsewhere in the world, it used to be the case that the platforms could just say, yeah, well, I'll take it down, and it may just pop back up, but not anymore. Take down, stay down, and if you're dealing with someone who repeatedly breaks the rules, they're going to be off.
Now, again, questions for Greg, all the way from London, but works with artists all over the world. Any questions from you guys about your rights, ownership? Here we go. We should just have a microphone person standing next to you all day.
I'm just going to start my legal clock now as soon as
Nips,
the question starts.
Can we get a microphone? He's just standing there. He's just there. Hello.
There it
yes,
is.
you. Hi. Well done. Yeah, one job. We've got a question here. Guess who the question's from? Oh, okay.
Hi, yes, Jasper and Gregor. My name is Joshua. I'd like to know more about the royalties. I understand that there are different kinds of royalties, such as performing royalties and then mechanical royalties, and there are different platforms for you to claim those royalties. Can you explain, if there are different kinds of platforms that we can go to for different royalties, right, such as mechanical and performing? Is there a one-stop platform where I can claim everything at once, as opposed to going to different platforms?
Yeah, and for those of you who didn't hear the question, I think I understood it, that you want to know about different types of royalties, mechanical and performing royalties, and whether there is one platform that can resolve all that for you. I mean, if there was, I think every artist that we represent would be signing up to it. Normally, in terms of administering your rights and getting the money from the platforms, that's normally the PRO's job. So the PRO, which is Compass in Singapore, and there are PROs all around the world, they should be out collecting for you from the platforms, and they normally collect the performing royalties. Your music publisher would normally collect what's called the mechanical royalties, and let's say a Spotify or a YouTube or TikTok pays out money, then that will be divided up between the PRO and the publisher. Your record label, if you're signed to a label, or even if you own your own copyrights, your distributor should have deals with all the platforms. They collect the money for you, and they should report to you in a really transparent way. So you can tell, okay, Spotify paid me this much, Apple paid me that much, Amazon paid me that much. And most of the platforms these days have good analytics. So if you're an artist, you can actually see what you're earning, which I think is awesome.
All right,
I
thank
think we
you.
had another question here.
Lots of people
We have
wanting
to have
the
a quick
legal advice.
microphone clean.
Hey, Greg. Thanks, Jasper. It's Jamie again. So, Greg, just interested to see if you have any opinion or visibility yet as to the potential innovation or impact that might arise from some artists choosing to look into fractionalized ownership of either their careers, content, or distribution?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's a great question. The idea that you can kind of sell off some of your creativity, and we're back to NFTs, right? And you will have hopefully have seen the dispute that arose between Damon Dash and Jay-Z about, okay, well, who owes what percentage of one of Jay-Z's albums? I think the possibilities for that are endless. If you co-create with someone in the studio and you have an immediate outlet through which to generate cash with a limited drop. I think Tory Lanez did an amazing NFT drop, made a vast fortune very quickly, and enfranchised the fans. So I think that's the critical difference with NFTs. I am a fanboy of NFTs, and I think they're going to be transformative.
I mean, on NFTs, maybe this is going way beyond my pay grade, but do NFTs take the lawyer out of the equation?
Oh, lovely question. I think a few people would hope so, right? No, I think they're going to give lawyers a lot of work. Partly, I've looked into smart contracts a good deal, and they are phenomenally powerful, but they're also phenomenally difficult to understand sometimes. And the point of a smart contract is it's almost like an executable of code. So when it's operative, you can't just inoperate it, if that makes sense. So I think they're an entirely different animal compared to the traditional contract you're going to sign. Everyone wants rid of lawyers, Jasper, so you're not going to get rid of us that easily.
I was just asking the question, but it's interesting. I mean, we've got another session on NFTs this afternoon, but it's great to hear how excited you are about them and the longevity it creates in content, right?
Yeah, I had a conversation with a very senior lawyer at one of the major record labels, who is a friend. We've worked together for the best part of 20 years. And I said to her, hey, what's really kind of on the agenda within your organization? And she said straight away, NFTs and decentralized distribution. So if one of the world's major record labels is saying that, and it's a big issue for them and they're thinking about it, then I know it's real.
Very good. Well, I think we're up for time there. The summary here is really, you need to know your rights, you need to know your wrongs, but get a good lawyer.
Absolutely.
And who would that possibly be?
I don't know any.
Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Pryor, thank you
you
so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jasper.